Hi, WOW VIP Tribe. This is such an amazing masterclass that you are going to be so thankful that you clicked go. I am here with the amazing WOW VIP Tribe member and CEO of Spherical Healing, Carmen Murray. Carmen, thank you for joining me today to share your WOW wisdom with the tribe.
Thank you for inviting me, Michelle. I'm happy to be here, excited to share my knowledge. Welcome to Live Your Value, Intentional Business Choices. And so I was at an amazing presentation yesterday with youth and got the message of what I do is really important, but who I be is also really important. And so I wanted to start out with what I do for my business. And what I do is I support people to fundamentally shift from overwhelm and stress into ease with some simple steps, some of which are based on Ayurveda, which is aligning the body systems so that we can run optimally. This creates balance, which has a significant impact on our health and well-being of our body, mind, and spirit. And what I love about this is the ripple effect it has on those that we impact on a daily basis. Now, this is a new edition of Who Am I Being? Because up until yesterday, my success was how many things I checked off my to-do list, and did I get all of the things I think I should have gotten done that day. And yesterday, after having this amazing presentation from Drew Dudley, I began to look at it different, because my values are balance, impact, collaboration, and health. And so at the end of the day, I can sit and go, did I have balance in my day? Did I have balance between what I wanted to get done as far as work, how I interacted with my family? Did I get out of my home office and interact with just people casually? And how was the connection with my husband and the to-do list of my housework, which is under my feet all the time, and just creating that balance, because I've really noticed that when I put all of my day into my business, I feel really unbalanced in the other places, and that kind of sucks my energy. And so I'm like, oh, how can I check that balance off? And then impact, adding value. How do I add value to people's lives with tiny, simple little things or bigger, impactful things? And so just having that in the back of my mind as I go out throughout my day, so that I'm adding value with everybody that I interact with. And for me, I absolutely love to collaborate. I've got all these amazing, great ideas on my own, and sometimes I just get too big picture, and then I have trouble bringing it back in. And so I love collaborating with people, and that really empowers me and inspires me to keep going. And it also speaks to that idea of two heads are sometimes better than one, not always, where we can bounce ideas off other people, and something that we're trying to get across, someone else can go, oh, I hear you saying this. And then they can just give it back to us in the way we wanted to say it, and it wasn't coming out. And then for me, the last one, health is super important to me. And if I feel really good in my own body and my own energy, then I am able to create balance, impact, and have great collaboration in my day. And so one of the things I wanted to talk with you today about is, how do you offer your services? From this go-go world of everything on the go, and we feel we have to be plugged into everything, we've got our screens going all the time, how is it that you pause and allow yourself to be in this place of wholeness and really believe and feel what you're up to is impactful, and that you have this confidence in what you have to offer? So that's one place that is the ideal place that we can come from, or we can come from this place of lack, that I'm not good enough, or are people gonna like what I have or what I'm up to? And so just really pausing and thinking, what are the activities or what are the tasks or the thoughts that need to come to your mind that bring you from that place of wholeness, that in this moment, you are perfect as you are. You don't need anything else. Nothing needs to be less or more. You come from this place of wholeness. It's been my experience in the training I've taken in the last year that so many people in our world come from this place of lack, of I'm not good enough. If I just achieve this one more thing, or take this course, or meet this person, there'll be a sense of wholeness. And when we come from this place of lack, we're always lacking. We're never good enough. And so just really inviting you to sit in that space of, where are you coming from in this moment? And as you step out and make that sales call, or as you go to that business network luncheon, or whatever that is you pause and do something simple that brings you back to you and your place of wholeness. I was so blessed yesterday to work with leadership students, and we just sat for 2 minutes in silence. And I was blown away by the difference it made in 16 to 18-year-old kids who just needed 2 minutes of nothing in their life to step more into that place of wholeness. It was really beautiful to watch. This is one of my favorite learnings that I've learned this year, we'll say. It comes from the Jewel of Abundance, which is by Ellen O'Brien. And it's this idea of surrendering to what our path is, rather than being attached to what we think it's supposed to be, or what we're expecting to happen in our day. And I purposefully chose this image to go with this one. In my hand is a 5-leaf clover. And I've never heard of one. And I found it this summer. And it just reminds me of when I'm always expecting to find a 4-leaf clover if I hunt really hard enough, and that's the lucky one. I came across a 5-leaf one. And so just this idea to surrender, I really believe that we're here for a purpose. And as we move through our resistance and our barriers and our challenges, we're on that path. If you're to think of stepping stones and there's like 50 in front of you, which ones are you going to choose to get you to the end? And it's been my experience that when I'm able to surrender and not worry and stress so much about what I want it to look like, and just take the action steps, take the purposeful action steps that I know are going to get me moving forward, and surrender to what's available, amazing, amazing things show up in my life that are totally not what I was expecting, totally not what I was planning. And they just open up this new pathway for new things to happen. And it's just so beautiful. And it's the funny and not so funny thing is, it's easy to talk about surrender and what it means, and to have a conversation about it. But to really get it in your heart and feel it in your body is a totally different feeling. And for me, that's where my practice of meditation and sitting in silence and going slow to go fast shows up in my life. And then stepping into intentional business choices. I used to be a school teacher, and we sometimes talked about taking the curriculum in our hand and throwing it and hoping that some of it sticks with the kids, as opposed to going, okay, making this intentional choice to teach something. And so I like to bring this concept into my business and when I'm working with other business people. And so for our intentional business choices, I always think it's really great to pause and really look at what our challenges are in our business. And they can be a variety of things, like not enough time, or, Michelle, you might have to help me out with this, because my brain is just gone blank on challenges.
So many challenges happen, and I call them roadblocks, because we can always overcome the roadblocks. So it could be a lack of creativity, and not having the, I really want to put something together, but I just am not able to visualize it in that moment. or certainly a lack of time. We only have 1,440 minutes in a day. So how do we use them and not be chief of everything in our business, but also be CEOs, and looking at our income producing activities versus non-income producing activities. And of course, one of the challenges, just like lack of time, lack of funding. And do we grow slowly and bootstrap? Do we do pitching and look for capital investment? Do we build a business plan, which we should do anyway, regardless of needing financing or not? Or do we look for financing options? So I don't think there's a day in business, whether you've been in business for, whether you're just starting up or whether you've been in business for 25, 30 years. I don't think there is a day in business that doesn't present challenges of some sort.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes those challenges are places where I get to pause and go, is this actually what I want to do, or do I want to do something different? So challenges can also be windows and doors opening for other opportunities. Mm-hmm. So just, looking at your challenges and making an intentional choice as to which ones you want to work on. And I love, Michelle, how you talked about the income generating actions we take, because I know sometimes for me, I can get distracted by the ones that are the ones that don't bring in income. And so distractions, for those of us that work at home, I touched on this earlier, of distractions of, is my house clean? What am I having for dinner? What am I having for lunch? If your partner happens to work in your house at the same time as you, there's so many little distractions that some of them, I think, for me, actually can be cleared up. One of mine is my desk. I don't leave my desk tidy-ish, I'll use the word. Then when I come back to it, I'm less likely to jump in and do those money-generating tasks. And I would really love for my desk to be tidy as my husband's, because his has nothing on it. But that, I don't think, is going to ever happen for me. But you never know. I don't want to say never. And so for these challenges and distractions, I wanted to give you some strategies that I have used and have really worked and had a bit of fundamental shifting in how I think about things. And so some of the ladies that I work with talk about scheduling it. It took me a year to create a schedule in Google Calendar. And now that I have one, it really helps me focus. And so that idea of, if we don't schedule it, it doesn't get done. And so I know for myself, and I know in talking to other businesswomen, sometimes we don't schedule the things that serve us the most, like a day off. And so we want to schedule those fun things in first. And so for me, Fridays is my fun Friday, and I rarely work on Fridays. So I'm really encouraging people to schedule in. And if you can't do a full day, do a couple hours. Maybe one day have like a 2-hour lunch, or things like that that really serve you and connect you with the things that you love. The other thing that I think is really important to schedule is self-care, because as we make intentional business choices, if we come from this space of lack, like I mentioned before, because you're not getting enough sleep, you're not nourishing your body, you're not taking care of what gives you your life force energy, then when you go to make these intentional business choices, you fall short on the energy you have to do things. And so I think that that's really important when we're thinking about scheduling, is, do you schedule those things in that really give you that extra energy in the day? For me, if I do a meditation in mid-morning and a meditation in the afternoon, my day is spectacular. If I don't, and don't do it for 2 or 3 days, I can just notice that my gas tank of extra energy just starts to drain. And then I'm reminded of, oh yeah, this is why I don't have a full-time teaching job anymore. I want my gas tank to be fuller. Just checking my notes. And then a timer. Some of you have probably used timers before, and like I just mentioned, I use mine in meditation. I also use mine to focus my attention at my desk. If I've got emails that I want to look at, I will give myself 15 minutes or half an hour to do them. And then I focus on my emails rather than starting with my emails and going in 8 different directions and really not getting to what I wanted to get done. And so setting timers for different things that can be really supportive in being focused, as well as actually starting something. Because sometimes there's those tasks that we just don't want to do. And we're just like, we avoid them and avoid them. And so if we set a timer for 5 minutes and do it for 5 minutes, it gets us started so that it doesn't feel like a lost cause. And so I love that idea too. And you can just do your 5 minutes, or if you've got more time, you can add on to that 5 minutes and get that task that is less desirable, we'll call it, done. And then the next thing, tapping into less desirable actions, is automation. I love it. With my personal habits, I've been able to automate so many of them. One of my automations in my personal habits is when I walk downstairs, I walk to my yoga room and do 20 minutes of yoga, which also leads me to some meditation and some breath work. So those are automated habits in my life. And I love that. And then I can add in some of the tasks that I'm not super excited to do, or I'm not super motivated to do. Maybe it's not excitement. Maybe it's just motivation that you're not getting it done and you're not even sure why there's that resistance there. Is to stack those habits with something you already do. Maybe once you do your email for half an hour, then you clean your desk for 5 minutes, or whatever some of those other undesirable actions are. And Michelle, I want to have a bit of a conversation with you about that, about some of those undesirable actions, because I think sometimes we don't even know why we're resisting them. They just don't actually get done. So what are some of those things in your business experience that you find that people are resistant to do? I know for me, it's doing my accounting and paperwork stuff. And I actually just handed that to my husband this morning.
Absolutely. So I find that when we procrastinate and we tell ourselves we're procrastinating over something, procrastination is not actually a character trait, nor is it who you are as a person. It really is a symptom of something that's stressing you. So there is a stressor around, maybe you're not feeling your business is doing as well as it could be financially, so you'll avoid looking at the numbers, or you'll go into flight. Procrastination really is that flight and freeze phenomenon that in this day and age we've called it something a little bit fancier to spice things up a bit. But it really is anything in your business that you tell yourself you're not good at. So it could be, I'm not good at Facebook, so I won't do Facebook. Or I don't like the way I look on camera, so I'm not doing a Facebook Live. Or it could be, I'm not good with numbers, so therefore I'll just pack my receipts in a shoebox and send it to the accountant once a year, and I'll really never know the financial health of my business. So it can be very different for everybody, and we can do all these little tasks around a certain task without actually getting the task that needs to be done, because there's an element of fear or stress there. Or it simply could be just not your area of genius. And if it's not your area of genius and it's not an income producing activity, then just like that, automation could be outsourcing as well. So sometimes it's more of an income producing activity to outsource to somebody who will fill in the gaps of your skill set, so you can focus on generating money and something that you love to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. My friend Tanya gave me a thing the other day that was, do it now, decide that you're going to do it and schedule a time to do it, delegate it or delete it. And so that's been in the back of my mind a little bit lately. And so that's awesome.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite productivity assessments and prioritization assessments that was developed by President Eisenhower. And so that's his Eisenhower matrix. You can Google that. And there's some other master classes in the VIP members area on how to use it as well.
Awesome. Very cool. And so that leads me nicely into 15% Solutions, which is a liberating structure. And there's books and a website and an app for that. And it's really amazing because it's just this idea that I can take an action that moves me forward 15% with no more resources, no more money, no more authority, that can build momentum and shift my business or whatever I'm up to. And the thing that I love about the 15% solutions is a spin on it that I really got when I first learned it was about me being a mom and a new entrepreneur from home is I feel like I have to bring 110% all the time because we've been taught you got to give 110%. And so it was just like in my house, if I'm bringing 150 or 15%, that doesn't leave room for my husband to show up or my kids, got a 7-year-old and a 10-year or a 14-year-old. It doesn't leave any room for them to show up with their 15% and bringing their gifts and allowing me to step back a lot. And then it all meshes together as a team. And so I wanted to just bring up 15% solutions because I want you to look at in your business and in your house, because I think that our personal life and our business life really go hand in hand, because when our personal life is all wonky, our business life can definitely feel like the safe place and the great place to be, but there's still that drain on our personal life. And so how does 15% solutions show up in your house or your business? Are you stepping back and allowing your kids, whether they're 3 years old or 30 years old and live with you, to step up and bring their 15% and share the workload? The same in your business. And this happened with my husband. I'm just like struggling and doing so much extra time and wasting time with my paperwork. And he's amazing at it. And so he offered the other day to take it. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. And then this morning, as I looked at my floor and my desk, because it was covered with it, I just went, yep, we're going to give this a shot. So pass that on and not delegate, because it's something he loves to do. And it's not something that I love to do. And it takes me probably 8 times as long as it would take him. So just looking at your business and where can you invite somebody in to do that 15% so that you have 15% freed up. The other thing I love about 15% solutions in a team idea is you've all been in teams where somebody's like dominates and they're like the 50 to 90% person. And then there's a few people that give like 1 or 2%. And what I love about the 15% solutions is when you have a conversation about it, those people that potentially dominate are like, oh, maybe I bring too much. And maybe I need to step back a little bit and hear what those people that are bringing 2% have to bring. And so I really love that. And that's really helped me because I tend to be someone who gives more than 15%. And when I step back and don't give more than 15%, then I'm able to learn so much more from other people and just create more of a team. And then I don't feel like I have to give so much either. So like there's some reciprocating of give and take. And so I really love that part of 15% solutions, which leads me into family and partner team meetings. And again, that crossover between family and business is, I'm still working on this. I have to say it's a challenge for me to have weekly family meetings with my family about what are the values that we bring to this family and what are our kind of rules, if you want to call them that, about how does this house run? And it gives kids the opportunity to say, hey, you're not doing your 15%, or I can't do my 15% because you're doing 80%. And so it gives a voice to the kids, which allows them to feel more valued. And we're starting to teach them that live your value component at a young age, which I really love. And it's an intentional choice. It's not that throwing it and hoping they're going to get it and we live it and model it. There's intentional conversations. And then I've taken that over to with my husband. It's just like, okay, what are our values? And when we make business decisions, how do these align with our values and who we want to be in this world? And how do our schedules mesh? Because we both work from home. He's a rancher. Right now there's snow on the ground. It's 20 below, so he's not as busy as he was 2 weeks ago. And so how can his schedule, the flexibility in his schedule mesh with things like live calls that I have that I don't really have flexibility in, and vice versa? So having those meetings and setting up our week so that we can really support each other intentionally, just to create a stronger team. Because it's no fun when your team members aren't on the same page. So I've really found that super helpful in being home, because I wasn't home before, that we have these intentional conversations about what we're up to, what our goals are for this week, and what can I do to support you. And so really having that collaboration piece has been super helpful for me. So these are 5 different things that I use to really support myself in making intentional business choices as I grow and build my business, and have cash flow come in. And so action steps for you to follow up from this presentation. I wanted to give you these because it's really important. I can give you a whole bunch of information and then you might not be sure what to do with it. And so my girlfriend Tanya told me to use this picture. This is off my wall. And this is my desk cleaning tactic of BJ Fogg talks about tiny habits. And so I took this, I was having so much trouble keeping my desk neatish, and talked to a lady that I did coaching call with, and she said, we talked about it, and this was the action step I took. I took a sticky, put it above my light switch, and when I turn my light off, I pause and I look at my desk and I take a breath and see how it feels. And if I'm happy with it, I can choose to walk away. If I'm not, then I can go back and take 30 seconds or a minute and tidy it, and then it feels better. Or I can make the conscious choice to leave, and then I come back and it's in a bit of a shambles. And that's one of the action steps that's really helped me move forward in my business, because now I want to come to my office and I want to do stuff, as opposed to going to my desk and just wanting to leave. So that's the significance of that picture. So your action steps are, what do you need to schedule for the next month? What are your top 5 to 10 things that you want to schedule in, whether they're fun days with your family, dates, must-dos for your business, meetings that you want to get to. And then thinking about how will you use your timer to support you in focusing on your business, or setting a timer so you can intentionally stop and do some movement or whatever it is that's going to rejuvenate you, so you can come back to your business and continue with those intentional choices to create more in your business, and whatever that's going to look like depending on your business. And then looking at that least favorite task that you can stack on one you've already automated. This is like brushing your teeth and then flossing. And that's what's happened with me for this, in this picture of when I shut my light out, now I'm automated that I look at my desk and make a conscious choice to fix it, leave it, or just enjoy how it feels. And then the 4th one is, how can you shift 15% to allow your team to show up more and support you? So how do you want to take that 15% solutions concept that I talked about and apply it to your life, whether it be your business life or your personal life? And the last one, what is the best day and time to schedule a family meeting or a partner meeting in your house? Is it Monday morning? Is it Sunday evening? Is it Friday afternoon because you're done your week, but you want to have a sneak peek at what next week's going to look like? And have that conversation with the people in your house so that you're all on the same team, all on the same page, or the people in your business, so you're all focusing on a similar goal and working towards that, so you can move yourself forward more efficiently. Because as Michelle talked about, there's only so many minutes in a day, and we want to utilize those minutes, whether it be focusing on our business or resting or playing with our children, or whatever that is you choose to spend your time with. And that's what I have for you today to support you in living your value and starting to show up and really feeling your value. Because that's what's really important to me, is that you feel your own value. It always blows me away when I look around and talk to people and they talk about how amazing the stuff is that I do. And I really love that in the last few years that I actually am starting to see that in myself. And so I think that is the gem is when you can see your value, it really opens you up and allows you to bloom and flourish in this world and offer your what from that place of your why.